You know, it's not very often that I'm able to relate to a protagonist in a video game. Since I'm not a plumber, super soldier, or card-wielding princess, it means that on a superficial level, I have a hard time seeing myself as the characters that I play as in video games. Now that's not a problem most of the time, because I'm not the type of person that needs to relate to a character to find them compelling. That being said, when I can relate to a video game protagonist, it's actually a pretty nice feeling. Enter Moonlighter, an isometric rogue-lite RPG where you play as a dungeon-crawling merchant, delving into the various monster-infested dungeons, fighting, looting, and selling your way to restoring the former glory of your town. Just like the previous video, this won't be so much as a review. In fact, it's more like me explaining why you should go out and buy this game. So in a true mercantile fashion, I'd like to sell you this little game. I also feel like for legal reasons I should mention that I am in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Digital Sun or 11-Bit Studios. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you to my shop. This game's first and honestly most enticing feature is the very satisfying gameplay loop on display. This is shown off pretty early on as your main character, Will, is introduced entering a dungeon that serves as both a tutorial and a narrative device to explain what's going on within the story. You first learn how to dodge as well as the quick attack and charged attack that varies from weapon to weapon. On a personal note, I like the greatsword because it has a lot of upfront damage and the charge attack has a sick invincibility frame that feels awesome when you execute it correctly. If you die, you lose all items not at the top of your backpack. However, if you don't want to lose all your items, you're able to spend a percentage of your money to teleport from the dungeon back to the town of Renoka with all of the loot you have in your inventory. Unless you caught some cursed items, which that might make some of your other treasures disappear, so be careful how you line up your bag. Once you make it back into town with your items, you can take them to the titular Moonlighter, a shop Will inherited from his grandfather, and from there you're able to sell your wares to make enough coin to upgrade your weapons, shop, or reinvest in the town, allowing you to purchase potions, weapon upgrades, and other services that open up. These services can help you when you go back into the dungeons with the hope that you'll be able to make it deeper this go around. If you're skilled enough and upgrade your equipment appropriately, you might make it to the dungeon's boss or guardian, and you might even be able to kill them. If you succeed, you'll be rewarded with the very rare and expensive loot to sell, and more importantly, you'll have access to the next dungeon, which has tougher enemies but also better loot. This leads to the gameplay loop of fighting monsters, selling what you find, buying things to help you fight more monsters, to help you sell more expensive items, to help you buy better upgrades, and so on. All these factors complement each other perfectly, with each upgrade feeling noticeably stronger, as mini bosses that once gave you trouble die in one combo, and amounts of money that once seemed ludicrous feel like chump change, allowing Will to reinvest in the shop or the town. Other aspects such as the charming music and beautiful pixel art and animations help sell this game as well. I'd like to show you the tunes, but YouTube's copyright system has me a little bit on the paranoid side, so we're not gonna go that path. Just look up the tracks. I promise you won't be disappointed. However, the gameplay by itself is why, in my humble opinion, this game deserves a buy. Now that I got the sales pitch out of the way, I'd like to share a personal anecdote. So this might actually be shocking to you, but the second half of my name isn't just for branding. I am actually a merchant in real life. Me and my ma run a flea market booth just outside of our hometown, and we sell stuff that we find on the curb. Due to the pandemic, a lot of people have had to downsize within our neighborhood, and what they don't sell, they leave out in front of their houses. That stuff is just wasting there. So we pick it up in my ma's truck, we take it home, clean it off, and take it to the booth where we can sell it for really cheap. It's how we keep the stuff from wasting away, and we can at least make sure that the people who need it can get it. Now, it might sound like we're getting this stuff for free and making a healthy profit, but there are a lot of costs that we need to factor in within every trip, from gas money for the trip itself to the rent on our booth, as well as basic necessities at home. Conversely, in Moonlighter, you can enter a dungeon for free, but if you want to get out without dying, then you need to spend a percentage of your gold. That's already an upfront cost right there, something you need to factor in when you sell your loot. Combine that with the cost of potions, upgrading weapons, investing in the shop, and investing in the town. That means you need to make every coin count if you wish to progress efficiently. Now, something I didn't mention in the previous section is the fact that items you put for sale can get a number of different reactions from different people, whether their eyes light up because they got an absurdly good deal, or flat out anger because they feel like you're price gouging them. While I'm sure my mother would appreciate the big thought bubble letting her know if she was getting ripped off or not, I can say that we do relate on a rather basic level to this type of thing. We're often debating with each other how much something should be. Sometimes these debates can actually get a little heated, but that's actually because there's so many variables that go into this that we need to think about. Is an item in high demand? Why? What price reflects that demand? If the market floods with that item, will we have to knock down that price? And if so, by how much? Even superficial aspects such as how our booth looks. Is anybody walking away with stuff without paying for it, and so much more. In some ways, it's actually uncanny how much I relate to Will, dungeon crawling notwithstanding. And it's that feeling of relating to a character's profession that made this game very compelling to me. I understand that probably isn't going to factor into whether or not you'd play this game, but I wouldn't be into this video if I didn't add my own personal stuff to it. Regardless, Moonlighter sticks with me, and that is a lot to do with the fact that I relate to the hassles and triumphs of the main protagonist. Still waiting for my chance to bitch slap a golem though. Maybe in the next reality. If it isn't obvious from the title of this video, then the frankly disgusting amount of praise I leveled at this little indie game should honestly make it clear just how much I like it. And while half of it is for a somewhat personal reason, I do genuinely think that everybody here owes it to themselves to try it. If you have a PC or an Xbox platform, it's on the Game Pass currently, but it's also on the Nintendo Switch and I believe the PlayStation 4. As for me, thank you so much for coming to my shop, and I hope you come again. Bye!